Welcome back, my fellow Ironheads, to the Ironhead Forge channel, where we turn raw metal into dreams and occasionally flirt with insanity. Here at the Forge, we get it. You can only watch me fire up the forge, smash molten steel, grind edges to razor-sharp perfection, quench blades in a dramatic hiss of steam so many times before you start wondering if I'm just a one-trick pony with a hammer. Spoiler alert, I'm not. I like to keep things spicy in the shop, because who has time for monotony? From crafting blades that could make a Viking weep with envy, to penning novels that I know you're all devouring. Seriously, you're listening to them, right? Tell me you're listening to them. Drop a comment, give me your thoughts, listen them all the way to the end. Help a guy out with those pesky algorithms. Keep this shop's fires burning, you beautiful Ironheads. Speaking of keeping things fresh, today we're diving into my other obsession, my Harley Davidson projects. 2 wheels, endless thrills, and a whole lot of grease under my fingernails. So buckle up, or should I say, kickstart your excitement, because today I'm rolling out a review of a motorcycle lift table that's either going to make my garage life easier or become a glorified shelf for my empty beer cans. Want more Harley content? Curious about the builds already done or itching for more details? Drop it in the comments, Ironheads. Let me know what you want to see. Here we go. Alright, Ironheads, feast your eyes on this shiny beast I snagged off Amazon. Because let's be real, you can buy anything online these days. From a motorcycle lift table to a lifetime supply of glitter, you'll regret for the next decade. This is the KT Motor 100 motorcycle ATV lifting platform. A snappy little number that set me back $1,199. Why? Because apparently my wallet enjoys pain as much as my back does after wrenching on my Harley without a lift. This bad boy boasts a main table that's roughly 6.5 feet by 2 feet, big enough to cradle even the chunkiest of hogs with a long wheelbase. Comes with a ramp, about 2 feet by 1.8 feet, so you can roll your bike up without reenacting a circus act. There's also some curb thingy, 6.5 feet by 10 inches, and a curb ramp, 10 inches by 1.8 feet, because apparently this table needs more accessories than a reality TV star. Why did I convert all those fancy metric measurements to good old imperial? Because I'm not running a European cafe racer shop. I'd rather measure in freedom units than squint at millimeters like some lab coat scientist. Now let's talk specs. This thing is built from high-strength steel, load-tested to hold 1,000 pounds without folding like a cheap lawn chair. It's got a locking device to keep it steady at any height, so your bike doesn't take a surprise dive while you're elbow-deep in grease. The hydraulic pedal pump, praise be, no electricity needed, lets one person, that's me, your lone wolf mechanic, raise it from a measly 7.3 inches to a lofty 33.5 inches. Perfect for maintenance, cleaning, just admiring your bike from a new angle. It's got a safety valve to prevent overload meltdowns and a sandblasted, electrostatically sprayed finish to laugh off scratches and rust. Plus, the hydraulic cylinder is sealed tighter than my lips when someone asks about my secret BBQ sauce recipe, and it hums along at less than 60 decibels. Translation: it's quieter than your neighbor's leaf blower at 7 a.m. This lift claims to play nice with most motorcycles and ATVs. Harley, Honda, Yamaha, you name it. It's the garage hero you didn't know you needed, or so the Amazon listing swears. Stick around, Ironheads, because next, I'm gonna put this overpriced table to the test and see if it's worth its weight in steel, or just another shiny regret. Drop a comment if you want more Harley build vids, or if you think I should stick to blades and books. Let's keep those algorithms happy. Smooth and straightforward like a freshly paved highway. This KT motor lifting platform, which I was hoping would be my garage's new best friend, is starting to feel like that one flaky buddy who promises to help you move, then ghosts you. So, this beast arrived via freight, and I'll give props where they're due. Shipping was faster than my last pizza delivery, landing at my shop in about a week. The packaging? Oh, it was a work of art. Thin plywood crate that looked like it could survive a zombie apocalypse. Everything inside was snug, padded like a royal baby to prevent paint scratches. I was almost impressed, until we cracked it open. Here's where the romance fizzled faster than a bad first date. As we unpacked the lift, pulling out the big pieces like kids on Christmas morning, we noticed something missing. No bolts, no pins, no eye bolts, no instructions. Nada. Zilch. Turns out the end of the crate looked like it had been through a cage match with a forklift and lost. Completely smashed, with our precious hardware probably scattered across a warehouse floor somewhere. No biggie, right? We'll just email the seller, and they'll swoop in with 5-star customer service, showering us with apologies and overnighting a bag of bolts. Cue the laugh track. A week and a half later, crickets. Not a peep. Apparently their customer service team is on a permanent coffee break. So we did what any self-respecting gearhead would do. Raced to the hardware store, grabbed some Imperial bolts that were close enough to the metric sizes listed on the one scrap of paper that survived shipping. Called it a day. Freedom units for the win. Because who has time for metric nonsense? With our DIY bolt solution in hand, we rolled the lift into the fancy part of the shop. The corner with AC where I can wrench without sweating through my soul. The detachable handle and steel wheels made moving this 1,000-pound rated beast smoother than a Sunday ride. But then, Ironheads, we hit a snag bigger than a pothole on the highway. The listing swore this was a hydraulic pedal pump, perfect for lifting my Harley anywhere without plugging in. Sounds like a dream, right? Nope. It's pneumatic. Either KT Motors translator needs to go back to school, or just yanking our chain. For some, this might be a deal breaker, like ordering a steak and getting tofu. Lucky for me, my shop's got more airlines than a scuba diver's gear bag, so we hooked it up and kept on trucking, pushing those earlier headaches into the corner like a pile of rusty tools. Time to slap this KT motor lift together, see if it's worth the $1,199 hole in my wallet. First, I connected the airline to the beastly pneumatic cylinder. Whisper quiet, just like they promised. Which was a big reason I picked this bad boy. Bigger is better, right? Just don't mention that to my doc at my next prostate check, or I'll be in for a whole different kind of lift. Assembly time, Ironheads. No instructions? Who needs them? If you've got half a brain for mechanics, we'll sort this out faster than you can down a shot of whiskey. If you're dropping cash on a lift table for your bikes, you better have some wrenching skills, or be ready to learn, unless you want your Harley looking like a scrapyard sculpture. I lined up the holes for the wheel clamp. It all came together smoother than a backroad cruise. Gotta give a shout out to the hard rubber pads on that clamp. Keeps your wheels shinier than a show bike's chrome. It's another reason this lift caught my eye. Since I'm all about two-wheeled freedom, I skipped the side extensions. No need for them with my Harleys. Trust me, those extensions are built tougher than a biker bar bouncer, with braces placed just right to handle serious weight. Steel bars for hooking them up look like they could bench press a truck. That durability, plus the fact that these extensions basically came free compared to other lifts charging you for your firstborn, was the third reason I went with this one. If I ever decide to use them, I'll toss up a quick video to show you how they roll. Now that we've got this table assembled, tested the air system, and given the locking bar the admiration it deserves, it's time to throw a bike on this thing and see if it's more than just a shop decoration. For this grand experiment, I'm rolling out a true basket case. A custom-built Harley I bought in more pieces than a jigsaw puzzle at a yard sale. This bad boy's got a stretched swing arm that gives it a look so unique it could star in its own biker flick. Runs like a dream now. There's still a few tweaks I want to make before I take it for a proper spin. Fun fact, wrestling this Frankenbike together on the shop floor was the final straw that made me say, screw it, I'm getting a lift. Here in the glorious, air-conditioned man cave, I'm not gonna fire this beast up and ride it onto the lift like some stunt show wannabe. Instead, we pushed it up the detachable ramp and onto the table. Despite my shop being tighter than a hipster's jeans, it was a breeze to get it up there. Once on, we clamped the front tire and slapped on a couple of straps, one on each side. Now, those missing eye bolts would have been nice for strapping, but this table's built like a tank, with sidewalls thick enough to strap anywhere without it throwing a tantrum. Time for the moment of truth. I hit the pedal, and the lift glides up smoother than my best barroom pickup line, with barely a whisper of noise. I raised it to the perfect height, let out a little air to lock it in place. Boom. Steady as a rock. Well, almost. Here's where my stretched-out custom bike threw a curveball. Just a hair too long for the lift, with the back end hanging out like it's trying to make a break for it. Meanwhile, there's enough wasted space up front to park a coffee mug collection. Then there's the wheel clamp. Lordy. The vice-like action is so stretched out, it's about as strong as a wet paper towel. The pressing side doesn't even line up with the bolted side. Problem number, what, 4? 5? I've lost count. To be fair, this is probably only an issue for bikes with skinnier front tires like mine. If you're rolling on fat tire hogs, probably golden. Since most of my bikes are on the leaner side, it's time to break out the welder and play Dr. Frankenstein with some modifications. Alright, Ironheads, we're picking up where we left off. No welder this time, but we're breaking out the drill and some bolts to whip this lifting platform into shape. Did KT Motor think to include an extra set of holes for different bike types? Of course not. That would have required foresight. Never fear, Ironheads. We're about to make this lift custom. Badass. Ready to handle my bikes like a champ. Plus, we're gonna fix that wasted space up front, because nobody likes wasting inches. Especially not in the front end, if you catch my drift. Wink. Let's talk shop. What do you want to see next? More bikes roaring to life? More blades forged in fire? Maybe some wild off-the-wall projects? A Damascus Fabergé egg that screams Ironhead, catapult for yeeting scrap metal, or a spear-throwing contraption that'd make a Viking jealous? Drop your crazy ideas in the comments. Let's see what we can craft in this shop to keep your engines revving. Back to the lift. With the modifications done, new holes drilled, bolts in place, and that front end space put to good use, this stretched out custom bike now fits like a glove. No more wasted inches up front, unlike some other, shortcomings we won't mention. With the lift dialed in for my needs, what's the verdict? This thing's built like a tank, with a tabletop thicker than my skull after a long day, a frame that could bench press a Buick, and a pneumatic cylinder so robust it could probably lift my ego. It's held steady with every chopper I've thrown at it. No wobbles, no drama. Would I buy it again? Hell yeah. For the price, you're not finding a better deal for this kind of beefy setup. Here's the kicker, Ironheads. Don't expect the seller or Amazon to hold your hand with customer service. For laughs, I started a return process just to see what had happened if you were pissed about the misleading listing or missing parts. Spoiler, it's a circus. They authorized the return, sent me a shipping label and told me to drop it off at UPS. Yeah, this freight delivered heavy as a small car lift at UPS? Folks at the drop-off laughed harder than I did when I saw the label. Here's the real punch to the jewels. There's no way to contact Amazon or the seller to sort it out, at least not without a Ouija board and a prayer. So I'm using their precious shipping label to mail them a tiny box with a strongly worded letter and a link to this video. See if they notice. So, Ironheads, if you haven't already, smash that like button harder than I smash steel. Subscribe to keep up with the chaos here at Ironhead Forge. Got thoughts? Drop them in the comments. Bikes, blades, batshit crazy projects, I want to hear it all. Until next time, Ironhead Forge out.